Well, so we're now on our way down to Greenwich. Look to our right here, you see the luxury apartments, Butler's Wharf. When you think a few years ago, you wouldn't give that building a second look. All it was a rather-fested old derelict warehouse. What they've done is cleaned them up, converted them into apartments. Now you pay about $3 million for a 2-bedroom apartment. The penthouses go for about $7 million. But some good news, if you're interested in buying a riverside apartment, they do get cheaper as you go downstream. Me and the crew, we live about 50 miles downstream. And still looking to our right, if you look at the end of Butler's Wharf there, as we pass it, you'll see a dock entrance. Look up this dock entrance as we get level. This is St Saviour's Dock. It leads right the way up to Dockhead in Bermondsey. If any of you have seen the musical film Oliver, that's where a lot of the filming took place on location. Where Fagin had his lair of boy thieves. Jacob's Island, where Bill Sykes met his sticky end. St Saviour's Dock to your right. Over to the left hand side we have the East End of London. This is the Wapping area. Now Wapping used to have a very gruesome execution called the Grace of Wapping. Pirates and smugglers, when they was found guilty of their crimes, they would have been walked along the foreshore to our left when the tide was low. They'd be chained to the river wall and 3 tides was allowed to go over their heads before they was pronounced dead. The last pirate to be executed over there was Captain Kidd in 1701. But just ahead of us to our left, you see the apartments with Oliver's Wharf written down the side of it. Look down the side of that building as we get level, and squashed on the side of Oliver's Wharf there's a little pub. It's called the Town of Ramsgate, but it used to be the old courthouse where the pirates was tried. Also there's some stairs leading up from the river. They're the Wapping Old Stairs. Yeah, there's the pub squashed on the side of Oliver's Wharf, and it used to be the courthouse. So when they was found guilty, they'd be taken out of there, down the Wapping Old Stairs and walked along the foreshore. So just ahead of us now to our left, see the blue and white structure coming out into the river. See the building just before there with the 3 red balconies. Look up at the top of that building in the brickwork, you'll see the letter E. That stands for Execution Dock. That's the site where the pirates and smugglers was chained to the river wall. Now the judge who used to sentence the pirates, Judge Jeffreys, he'd be rowed across the river to the right hand side, mainly for his own safety. But just ahead of us there to our right, see that little brown pub all on its own? That's the Angel in Rive. Judge Jeffreys would sit on the balcony of that pub with his invited guests, having a mug of ale, watching the tide go over their heads. Over to the left hand side you see the police boats there alongside the pier. That's Thames Police Wapping. But as we pass that pier, the first building there is another little pub. Look at the name at the top of it, named after that last pirate to be executed, Captain Kidd. Now just ahead of us to the right hand side you see the church steeple there. That's St Mary's Church of Rive. And buried in the graveyard there is a famous man called Captain Christopher Jones. He was part owner and captain of the Mayflower, which was built in this area to our right in Thames Rive. Went round to Plymouth to pick the Pilgrim Fathers up to find a new land we now know as America. But look ahead of us to our right, you see the American and English flag flying there. As we get level, you'll see a little white pub named after that famous little ship, the Mayflower. And if you look on the roof of the pub, you'll see a weather vane. Well, that's a replica of the Mayflower ship. Now over to the left hand side we had the oldest pub on the banks of the tidal Thames. See the white building there? That's the Prospect of Whitby. It dates back to 1520 and it used to be called the Devil's Punch Bowl. But this was a notorious area for the press gangs, where they'd wait outside the pub for a young gentleman who had a few too many to drink. As they come out the pub they'd be coshed over the head, wake up the next day in the Royal Navy. No one wanted to join the Navy in them days, you'd die of scurvy or something far worse. And in that pub they still got the trap door. If they knew they was waiting outside, they could try and escape. Now ahead of us to our left, see the peculiar red bricked apartments. Apparently the reason they're designed like this, there's over 400 apartments in that complex and each one of them has a river view. But these apartments, they stand on the site of Free Trade Wharf. The name Free Trade Wharf dates back to the Plague of London. During the plague no ships would come up the river, fear of catching the plague, so London was starving. The only ships what would was the Dutch, and this is as far up the river as they would come over there to our left. So the government of the day give the name of that wharf the name Free Trade Wharf, because any Dutch ship coming up the river done so free of charge. Now you see the old warehouse to our right, converted into apartments, Globe Wharf. As you can see, still got the original crane on the side of the building. When you think years ago, the barges with their cargo would be towed over to the water when the tide was high, the crane would lift the cargo out into the wharf. And if anyone's wondering what the word wharf means on this river, it means warehouse at river front. Now just ahead of us to the left hand side you see the opening in the river wall, got the black and white bridge going across with a writing underneath, Limehouse Marina. If we had a canal barge, this is where you could join up with the canals of England, and you can go as far up these canals as Birmingham and Manchester and beyond. That's the Limehouse Marina to your left. Now we have another famous little pub coming into view to the left hand side. You see that old wooden jetty to our left? As we pass it, there's a group of older buildings on the wooden legs. These are known as Duke Shores. But you see the first building there with the wooden staircases and balcony? Well, that's the Grapes Public House in Limehouse. Charles Dickens lived in the attic of that building while writing Our Mutual Friends. Also, a couple of artists would sit on the balcony there doing their river views. That was Whistler and Turner. Now all the high-rise buildings ahead of us to our left, this is the Canary Wharf complex, the new financial art of Europe. As you can see, a lot of the banks are over there, HSBC, Barclays, Citigroup, lots of shops, restaurants, bars, hotels, gymnasiums, like its own little city over there. Also, that's the start of the Isle of Dogs. But as we come round this bend in the river, we're in the last stretch until we approach Greenwich in about 10-15 minutes time. And if you look either side of you, you'll notice there ain't nothing to talk about other than the prices of apartments. So we're going to leave you in peace till we approach Greenwich, where we'll point out a few places of interest, also information at times of returning boats. But I'd just like to point out the commentaries on these boats on the River Thames. They are done on behalf of us, the crew, to try and make your trip a bit more enjoyable. We feel it's a bit of a waste of time you going on a trip on the river if no one tells you what you're looking at. We do upkeep, maintain the equipment ourselves to make the commentaries possible. If you care to show your appreciation for my efforts as a guide, you may do so very shortly. I will pass amongst you in the old traditional manner with the old metal ice bucket. But please feel under no obligation whatsoever. It's voluntary on your behalf, same as giving the commentaries voluntary on our behalf. Thank you very much for your kind attention. We hope you've enjoyed your trip on the way down to Greenwich. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, ahead of us here to our right, we have our destination, the Royal Borough of Greenwich. If you look above the rooftops, they're brown buildings there, and then up into the skyline above all the trees, can you see the green onion-shaped dome? That's the Royal Observatory, high up on the hill in Greenwich Park. Just to the right of the green dome, there's a tea bar with a red ball at the bottom. Just before 1 PM, that red ball rises to the top, and at 1 o'clock it drops. That's GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Also, just ahead of us to our right, the 3 masts of the old tea clipper, the Caddy Sark. She's permanently dried up, well worth a visit. As you can see, she now floats on a sea of glass. You can walk right underneath the ship, have a look round, and that's where they keep the collection of figurettes. Also there to our right, you see the brick structure with a glass dome. That's the entrance to the Greenwich Foot Tunnel. Look just ahead of us to our left, you'll see an identical dome. That's where you come out if you wish to have a look at the Docklands development. But back to our right, just past the pier, the white impressive buildings are the Royal Naval Colleges, also consist of the Queen's House. Now, information of times of returning boats. If you want to go straight back, just stay on this boat. We leave here at 4:10, or just after. We might be a little bit late. After that though, there's a boat every 40 minutes. So after 4:10, you got one at 4:50, and the last one leaves at 5:30. 5:30 is the last boat back. Now, thank you very much for your appreciation of the commentary. Hope you had a nice trip down to Greenwich. Thank you.
I love it, somebody's not there. Somebody's missing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. The long queue, people waiting to get into boat. So this is the Greenwich. I'll stay here for maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes. After that, I'll go back to London City.
真骚了呀！我之前怎么推荐？
This is quite nice. Greenwich Bay.
退掉了可以喝3杯奶茶，哪怕它折价可以吃。
So we came with that boat. I'll go a little bit around. Zizi restaurant. This beautiful old boat is fantastic. It's very nice, absolutely amazing. Okay, so this is the Greenwich. Okay, I'm going to bring this video to the end and then go to eat something.
You're not up here. You're not up.